Our guest this hour is the CEO of Britam Asset Managers, and that is Barak Obatsa. He's here with us this morning. Barak, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Welcome to the Situation Room.
Thank you.
You're in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning, and it's good to have you here as we look into a number of issues that we'll be discussing. Earning. It's a good thing when we hear about earning because it's going to put some money in the pocket, right? Yeah. And Britam well placed to show us how that can all come together and how that can happen. But before you start giving to us, how about we give to you? And the way in which we welcome you into the Situation Room this morning is CT goes around the continent and he gleans proverbs from different African countries. And he's gone to a very interesting country this week. And I'll let him tell you about that. And when he gives us the proverb, then you can tell us what it means to you and how you would interpret it. That sound good?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Well, our proverbs for this week come from the island republic of Cabo Verde, otherwise known as Cape Verde, formerly Portuguese colony. It's an interesting country. We say it's in the western region of Africa, yet it's in the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And it consists of 10 volcanic islands. But the unique thing that I found interesting about this country is one of the few countries in the world whose population in the diaspora is more than the population of those in the country.
Wow.
In this instance, those in the diaspora are almost twice the population of those in the country.
Unique.
It's very, very, very unique. But it's not the only unique country. Other countries like Ireland and the Seychelles also share those qualities. Okay. Now the proverb. In new surroundings, the hen will walk on one leg.
I think, what would that mean? It's when you're in an unfamiliar place, you'll be more cautious and careful.
Thank you. You've interpreted it simply and accurately. Yes, it is. When you're in a place that you're not familiar with, you want to be cautious.
Yeah.
Yes. It's important to be cautious.
Yeah.
1,000 points. Do with them with whatever you wish. Put them in a money market fund and see how they grow.
How they grow.
Just because you interpreted that, fantastic.
Yeah.
So then I guess that gives us an inroad into what we're talking about this morning. And in terms of how you can actually make money grow for you in a fund. So just introduce us again to Britam Asset Managers. And what is it that you do? It's such a, when we hear Britam Asset Managers, it just sounds like, a very niche, place where it's only reserved for certain people who do certain things, who trade on the international market. Please reintroduce us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, Britam Asset Managers is part of the Britam Group. So Britam Group has been in existence in Kenya for the last 65 years. And currently in 7 African countries and quickly expanding very fast in Sub-Saharan Africa. So we want to specialize in Sub-Saharan Africa, in Central Africa, towards Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, and we'll expand more as we go along. And it has 4 broad arms. One for life insurance, the other one for short-term insurance, insuring your car, house. The other one is microinsurance that basically goes to the bottom of the pyramid. And then the company that I lead, which is Britam Asset Managers.
Yeah.
So our job is basically to manage wealth, to manage investments, advise on wealth, and grow your wealth. We've been in existence for the last 20 years as the asset management arm of the group.
Isn't it wonderful? Because to manage wealth, it must exist.
Or when we hear wealth, we think, well, you must have it.
So I'm glad to hear that for you to have been here for 20 years and doing this, then it means this country actually has wealth. doesn't it?
Indeed.
Yes.
Also, there's undemarcated, areas, of course, that we'd love to go into. But then, can we just do a little bit of a definition? Because when we hear wealth, it's kind of a scary thing. Because folks are like, okay, well, if they're only managing wealth, then I've got no business here, right? So when we talk about wealth, what exactly are we talking about, Barak?
Yeah, I mean, for me, wealth starts as a mindset. Number one, for me, once you have the right mindset, then that's wealth. Now, from there, now you can accumulate what now you will call at the end of it wealth. But once you start with the habit and the mindset, then for me you can define that as wealth. And I say investment is for everybody. I mean, whatever little you get, that's what becomes even wealth. But as I said, the first thing is you have to just have the right mindset. Even somebody with 100 million and you with your 500,000, you can be even more. You can seem even more wealthier than that person, because then your mindset gives you sustainability in terms of what you can become. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you assist individuals? With ideas of investment? How does that whole process play out?
Yeah. Number one, we talk to the public a lot, and one of the things that we tell people is that whatever you earn, whatever you earn, even if you earn 500 shillings, you can start from there. All you need to do is put aside something, for example, and start your journey to grow your wealth. We also do give financial advisory, which means even before you start earning anything, we can exchange ideas on what best you can do to start now earning. And then from there, become more tangible in terms of what you can do with that money. Because what we've found is that if you start early with the little that you have, then the chances of you growing wealthier increase exponentially. And one of the things that we've been doing is we have a lot of outreach outside there. So even before you start earning your first coin, then we can give you ideas on what you can do. As you know, like I said, we also have a wing of us that does micro business, micro insurance and all that. So that is part of it. That is part of contributing for you to start the wealth journey. Okay.
So practically, I have 500 shillings.
Yeah.
Barak, what am I doing with 500 shillings that is going to take me to the journey whereby I'm growing my wealth? How does that translate?
So it is very easy. For example, we can sit down with you. We do have financial advisors. I think the largest financial advisory network in the country, and also business development staff that we have in Britam throughout the country. And by the way, we have our digital tools that are very user-friendly, very interactive by themselves. So what we do is that if you have 500 shillings, we have products that fit that very perfectly. From the word go, you can start investing even with 100 shillings, leave alone 500 shillings. We do allow that, and we did that just to bring the inclusivity, financial inclusivity, in the whole investment ecosystem. So with even 500 shillings, if you go, even if you don't have a smartphone, you can just use your USSD and be able to start investing. So we've gone as low as that and said, it's okay. We have other people, the Gen Zs, who like using our digital tools, and they will use our apps, they will use all our WhatsApp chatbots. But for us, all you need to go is *778# and you start your investment journey with as low as you can. Yeah.
Okay. So this money, and I like this 500 shillings because then we can break it down for folks to really understand. So with this money, how will I then be able to meet my goal? So I've put 500 shillings here and I want to grow it. I'm going somewhere. I want to buy a house, a property. I want to buy a car. I want to, save for, holiday, whatever.
Holiday, yeah.
How then does that happen? And how would then you advise to say this is what you do with it to meet your goal?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do, because we do a lot of investment advice, so we'll sit down and ask you, what is your goal? What do you want to do with your money in X number of years.
Yeah.
So, and we'll set a goal. And what exactly are you looking to buy? What kind of car are you looking to buy? You have to start from there. I mean, what do you want to buy? Then we'll tell you, I mean, if you want to buy X, Y, Z, and this is the money you want to put, then you have to take this number of initiatives, habitual saving. Of course, the other side, we can tell you then you need to do a bit of hustle here to increase this level of saving for you to reach that goal.
Yeah.
Because we believe once you anchor your goal in doing something, most of the time we've seen that you achieve. And we have quite a number, numerous examples that we have seen of clients who have come to us, and after five or 3 years, they have been able to meet their goal. Even they have bought property. They have been able to develop property. So like Kenyans, we like our plots. And you can say within 3 years, I've bought my plot. After 2 or so years, I've been able to save to develop that property. If I'm a young man and I want a car, I want a Subaru, then how do you start? So which Subaru do you want? Okay,
Yeah.
let's begin the journey.
So you go to the nitty-gritty actually and say,
actually go,
let's know.
this is what I want. And even me practically, I have done that. I've seen that. I've grown in the investment industry, and I've seen mistakes that I've done myself while in the investment journey. And I think with that, I can be able to tell quite a lot of people that anything that I've said I want to achieve, so long as I anchor it into a goal, and I say, by the way, I want to get this type of asset. I've almost always gotten what I want in that sense, because I've just anchored my mind there, and my habits have built from that, and I achieve it almost spot on. And I've seen quite a number of people.
Considering that a very large segment of our population are in what we call the informal sector. So they do earn a living, and that's why the sector exists. But one can't say it is steady. It exists, but it's this today, it's that tomorrow, and it balances off somewhere. Now, for this individual who probably even earns less than that and subsists on something like 8 to 10,000 shillings, let me lower it, 6 to 10,000 shillings a month. This individual will want the same thing as somebody who earns 50 to 100,000 shillings. So how does such an individual move to the point where they are now able to actually have more than they actually have?
So one of the things that that I will say, one of the principles that we say, whatever you want, just fixate on 10 to 20%. So even if I'm selling in the market and I earn my 500 or 600 shillings per day, just take that 60 shillings or 120 and keep it aside. And I'm saying that there will be good times and there will be bad times. So the most important thing is that when things are very bad, and maybe it is a certain time of the month that you are not able to earn at your peak, then you can be able to draw down on some of those savings. So once you keep your level minimum of what you think you should be saving every day, then that can give you a bit of a buffer. So number two, one of the things that we've seen, and we've seen it in the financial inclusion environment that we started with certain banks actually targeting certain parts which were called unbanked. And what we saw is that some of those people who started at that micro level are now millionaires. And number one was saving. Number two is using part of your savings to actually acquire credit and grow your business. And from there, you are able to even earn more income and save. So that's a very tried and tested way. But even without that, I always say saving and investment is a very habitual. So the moment you get the habit of setting aside whatever amount that you earn, then you are home and dry. You will be better than somebody who is earning $1 million and maybe not having a budget on how to spend it. And we've seen quite a number of those examples after you've left your job, active job, and you are having a very good job. Then you are not doing so well.
You know why I mentioned this? If I look at, say, for instance, the percentage of people who, in this country, who one could argue or say, have sought or are insured or have an interest, not an interest, who are in the money market, it is a very small percentage, and it's way below even 5%.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and yet they're the majority.
Yes, yes.
So if I'm looking at the numbers, just the sheer numbers, all right? And I'm thinking, while here, many of these individuals live in a situation that we refer to as hand to mouth.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, yes.
But yet you're saying, and I actually agree with you in principle, that even if you're living from hand to mouth, you can find a way of putting aside money. But sometimes one needs a helping hand. Why do I ask this? If you have a very large segment of people who are not able to partake of an offering such as the one that you had, and yet the potential is always there.
Yeah, yeah.
What does your industry, what does Britam do in terms of just the thought process of getting to a point where you can include these people? Because as I say, the sheer numbers.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that, yes, for example, the money market fund and our industry, currently, if you look at that section of the industry, it's not just about 200 billion now. But remember, what do we have in the banking industry? 6 trillion. Yeah, 6 trillion in deposits, for example. So it just tells you the capacity. Yeah, it tells you the capacity. One is that you will find that most of those deposits earn nothing. Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that when sometimes if you are not discerning enough, for example, and you put money in a bank account, most of the time it is zero.
Yeah.
But let money work for you. So I'm saying, Kenyans, let's go to the next level. And that's what we've been doing. We're saying, don't let your money sit idle in your bank account and in zero.
Mattress.
Yeah, or under the mattress. Just go to M-Pesa or wherever and put your money in Britam, and you should be able to start earning.
How soon?
Immediately. Even now, if I put *778, I'll start earning immediately.
How does that work? It sounds like magic. I mean, how does that work exactly? You put in money, you start earning today. Could you explain some of the mechanics of how that works?
Yeah, so what happens, every day we give a rate, or what we call a yield, daily yield. So currently we are giving an annual yield of about 13.5. So you can imagine you earning 0%. And most of us, I mean, we are busy, we are here, here the whole day, we are working, we earn our income, but we don't take care of it, yet there's so much potential. Yeah, for example, in our money market fund, all you need to do is go to *778, it will give you prompts, and from there you should be able to, it will give you steps, and you should be able to invest immediately.
Okay.
And from there you'll be able to have your money working for you.
Okay.
Secondly, even in our apps, so we have apps for those, like I always say, most of our apps are used by our Gen Zs.
Yeah.
People probably my age like our financial advisors, but we have our Britam app, and most importantly our WhatsApp chatbot. So using AI, you are able to go to WhatsApp chatbot immediately and invest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, that is an immediate thing that you put in money today via M-Pesa. You said as little as 100 shillings, you can do the business and start. So that's immediate. And then you also use some other terms like short term.
Yeah.
And then you also talk about long term. What's the difference between all of that? And who would you advise to go short term and who should go long term?
Yeah. So what I will say is short-term investments, basically you want to keep your money for a short while. You do not want the volatility of the market. You want to probably have a wedding in 6 months. So you want to put your money, say, in a product like a money market fund, because the volatility and risk is much lower. So short-term, we put anything between 1 and 2 years. And long term, anything between 2 and maybe 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you seeing the same kind of rates in terms of return on investment, whether it is short term or whether it is long term? Are you seeing the same numbers, or do those things now fluctuate depending on the periods that you have?
Yeah, so obviously in terms of the principle of investing, the curve is always upward sloping, if I call it. So the higher, the longer the time, the longer you should be able to earn, the higher you should be able to earn.
Okay.
So for example, a money market fund, you'll find that the rate of return is slightly lower than what we call our smart yield fund.
Okay.
So our smart yield fund will probably give you close to about 14%, and our money market fund will probably give you about currently we are giving 13.5.
Okay.
per annum.
Before we go to break, break it down for us.
Yeah.
Exactly what a money market fund is. I mean, again, it sounds nice. We see it in the financial papers, and we don't. What is a money market fund?
So a money market fund is a short-term investment vehicle that basically invests in short-term investments, and that is meant to preserve your capital. The main objective of that is capital preservation. So it is a very, very safe type of investment investment fund, that basically the underlying investments are short-term and curated and selected well to ensure that you preserve your capital and you're able and minimize the fluctuations in the fund. So it is a fund that that is very suitable for almost everybody, and especially for those who are starting their investment journey.
And it's not fixed.
And it has no, this is something that you can invest today, and after 2 days get your money back. Yeah, it's as good as a bank account, but a bank account that is earning you income. That is the trick about it.
As we go into that, questions of, okay, is there some secret place where nobody knows about, where this money is taken and it's then grown on trees and then it's brought back? Folks want to know, okay, in which orbit does my 500 shillings go? Where is it going exactly, that you're able to then give me back this interest? What magic do you wield?
So what I can say, there's not much magic. I mean, we are professional investment managers. So we are regulated by the Capital Markets Authority on managing private wealth and retail funds. And we have set areas that we can invest. And we invest in bonds, especially, government bonds. We do invest in corporate bonds. We do invest in commercial paper, but carefully selected, well calibrated, especially on the money market fund, which is supposed to be a very, very safe fund. Our smart yield as well. That one, we take slightly longer instruments, and that's where we're able to give you a much higher return. Plus, we always say that it is for those ones who want to invest for a slightly longer period. So if you don't want to access your money in 2 to 3 years, or your goal is 2 to 3 years, invest in our smart yield fund. It will give you more, and it is suitable for those ones who want to invest for a slightly longer period.
Okay. You mentioned when we're talking about money market fund, you talked about smart yield and its high interest rates. What is this smart yield, and what's the difference between that and the other short-term fund that you spoke of?
So a money market fund is meant for short-term investing. It's basically an alternative to a bank deposit. So if you go to a bank, they will usually offer you a call deposit. And that is an alternative, but or basically a call deposit or sometimes a current account. But the only difference is that I pay you interest, and very decent interest for that matter. A smart yield is a longer term investment vehicle, especially once now you've gotten used to not that you cannot invest from the word go. If you want, we just allow you, but we normally prefer it for people who have experienced investments a little bit, and we say that fund is meant for people. If you're saying you want to buy a car in 3 years, I'll tell you, go to the go to the smart yield because it gives you a much higher return. You're a bit patient. It has, and the other thing is that slightly higher risk because, like I said, the higher the return, the slightly higher risk that you carry. Not that it has.
What is this slightly higher risk?
Yeah. So in terms of, there could be a bit of fluctuations, but rarely. We've not seen them. But we have a responsibility to tell our clients that it could, but it doesn't normally have. Since we started it, it's been very stable. We've not had those fluctuations. But in terms of the risk spectrum, it is described as slightly risky, slightly. And I'm not saying that you can lose your money. We have not. We've been managing money for the last 20 years, and we've been fairly okay with that. But because it's slightly longer, just like if you buy a government instrument, a 10-year bond, in normal circumstances is supposed to earn you higher because of time. Uncertainty of time. Things happen over time. So it's this exact same principle. Not that you are likely to lose, but things happen over time. So that's why a government bond of 20 years will give you more than maybe a government bond of the same government bond of 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is a return on investment guaranteed once you put your money in? Like you said, I think you said you take as little as 100 shillings, or what is the minimum amount that you would take for any kind of investment? What's the minimum? Or anything?
So for a money market, we can take as low as 100 shillings. And we did just this for inclusion. It used to be much higher. Sure. Remember, we used to have it much higher, but we said, let us be a little bit more inclusive. And this is very deliberate from ourselves. We said, on one side, we are doing microinsurance. So what we realize is that those particular clients also have investment needs, because when we do advise our clients, we go on a very holistic basis. So we assess your needs, what your requirements are, and that's why we said it would be a contradiction for us to sell microinsurance. We go to Mama Mboga and say, you know what, you need to insure X, Y, Z.
Right. And
then at the other point, we tell him, no, for you to invest, you need 1 million shillings. So that didn't make sense to us, because we want everybody to be included.
Okay.
So that is why one of the reasons we also transitioned and said, you know what, let us lower this balance so that everybody is included and we give everybody a bouquet. Obviously, at the same time, we also manage discretionary mandates. So for people who understand investments even more, I want to invest in Tesla. We can do that. We can construct your portfolio as much as you like from whatever angle you want. So all we need to tell you, this is the risk that you think we can take, given what information you've given us. But you also have to be willing. There are some people, you'll tell them, this is the kind of risk that you should be able to afford. But they tell you, I can afford more. Maybe I have more. I can afford to lose a little bit. Or I can afford fluctuations. So we also do bespoke investment solutions.
Okay. So there's a guarantee on your return. There's a guarantee on the return of your investment that at the very least you will get something, because you've said it goes into different kinds of markets, right? Depending on where you are, commercial paper, you talk about bonds and things like this. But are people going in with 100 shillings or with 1 million shillings with a guarantee on their investment after the term?
In fact, in our products, our capital market regulations do not allow us to offer a guarantee.
Okay.
So by law, we are not allowed. So we can't guarantee. By definition, we can't guarantee. All we say is that we know we'll give you a decent return. We have been at it for a very long time. Britam is a very stable company, a highly respected brand. I think in terms of brands in Kenya, we are number 3 across all types of companies, not just financial services. Among insurance companies, we are number 1, and this is something that was done by an external independent party that basically disseminates that. So we can say because of our stability, we are able to assure clients that your money is very, very safe.
Okay. So, just with these different elements, and you said, so I start and I say today, I have a certain amount of money and I've seen that this makes sense, excuse me, this makes sense and I want to put it somewhere. How do I start? I pick up the phone, I speak to somebody on the end of the phone, we talked about star 778 hash. What do I do? I'm starting out right now.
Yeah.
How do I go about it?
So there are several ways. Number one, like I mentioned, Britam has almost 3,000 financial advisors spread throughout the country with over 25 branches. So the easiest for maybe people of my age or older, they will want human interactions. So if you go to our branches, you'll be served from there. They will onboard you. You'll open your account instantly and you'll start. Yeah. Our financial advisors are spread throughout the country. Number two, if you say smart 2778 SMS, somebody will call you. So that let the cost be ours to call you back.
Okay.
So you do not need to. Number three is basically using our WhatsApp chatbot.
Okay.
So we call it Bella.
Oh,
so
how nice.
0705 100 100. So if you just go to Bella and interact with it, immediately you start your investment journey from that perspective, and even invest instantly using your WhatsApp.
Okay.
Just your WhatsApp.
Just WhatsApp.
The other is my Britam app. So we have an app for those ones who like apps.
Yeah.
And they will be the whole journey, and you'll be able to invest from there. My Britam app or my Britam portal as well. And then we have our website. So if you go to Save and Invest, you'll be able to invest almost instantly. And of course, the most popular, like I said, we are very inclusive people. And if you go to star 778 hash, even with your Mulika Mwizi phone, you should be able to start investing. So even my mother in the village can be able to invest, because I know he has a smartphone that he cannot operate. So he prefers the Mulika Mwizi. So she can be able to start her investment journey from deep in the village, wherever you are.
Is that information available for folks who are, again, like you're saying, deep in the village as an example, or maybe not, clicked into this ecosystem where we're hearing all these things all the time, but do have an extra coin that they want to be able to put away for tomorrow? Is that information available for them?
Yeah, I mean, in the villages, we do a lot of interactions, maybe with local radios and all that, just to bring them up to speed. We do quite a lot of activations in those particular areas, in commercial centers across the country. But more importantly, like I said, if they put just SMS to 778, we'll call them back.
Okay.
Yeah. So on our social media pages, Instagram, our X, our X accounts, they'll be able to get that. We have LinkedIn pages, so that information is available. But of course, like I say, that now is available for the more urban population. There
is a population. I'm going back to where I started off before, looking at this group that previously was unbanked, but I'm going to take it further back. When looking into the future is often represented by the youthful population that we have. Now, these products, listening to them, I know they are good. I know that if one develops or has the discipline, they can serve one extremely well. But how then do you capture this population? Some haven't even gotten a job, some haven't even finished school. How do you get them into this zone where they think and realize that this is something I can do? And this is something that will help me, because someone starts, let's say, at the age of 21. By the time they're 30, they will be doing extremely well. By the time they're 40, they'll be doing really, really well. And so forth. Because if they stay alive, they will get to those ages. What does your organization do to ensure that their future is also embedded in this population that represents the future?
So one of the things that we do, of course, we engage at tertiary college, financial literacy. So we do a lot of financial literacy education at before you step out. Before you get your first job, before you finish, you'll have known what we do. So we engage in a lot of financial literacy.
Explain how you do it.
So we go to universities and we talking to the authorities there, and we engage the students there, either physically, but now they also like digitally. So we do a lot of webinars for now. Of course, they're digitally aware. It is easier now. We do not have to physically go to all these institutions. So we do a lot of financial literacy. So to educate them from the word go. And the other thing that we also do, one of the programs we've started also is that for example, a micro insurance, we can allow them to be some sort of agents to be able now to propagate the information to their peers. Because one of the things that we also realized is that, which is very positive, peer pressure that is very positive. And one remarkable thing I've seen is that in Nairobi now, there's a lot of peer pressure for young people to invest. So they belong in groups and they invest together and they are very disciplined. Yeah. And it's almost like chamas for the young people.
Right.
I found that very interesting, that these people you are seeing sometimes now, we are seeing them, some of them in the streets and all that. They are very organized, even financially. And you'll be very amazed. They have their own chamas. They have their own chamas and they organize themselves. Everybody saves whatever he gets. And if you run into a problem, they go into an mchanga. If your mom is sick, if you are bereaved, if anything you need. So they do not want to dip into this investment. So they have done it very well. And they will come together and give you the money, put the money together like a harambe in a mchanga and give you the money and tell you, please don't touch the money that is here. Yeah. So I found that a very organized way, and it's done by peer pressure. Are you not investing? And those are the kind of networks that we have actually tapped into.
Sure.
And they're actually investing with us. We have a lot of those group of young men and women who have actually come to us. Young people, completely young people. And the good thing is that we have tools for them.
That's very interesting, Barack, because now think of years ago when we started to hear about, and then the investment and insurance market actually started to build. And it was very brick and mortar. Put your money, we grow it, we give it back to you, end of story. But from what I'm hearing that you're saying now, that we've evolved to a place whereby it's about a community or a culture that is being grown, where folks, we don't have to think twice or be convinced that an investment and keeping something away for the future or for a rainy day or towards a certain goal, you don't have to be convinced of that anymore, that it's a culture. Would you say now that it is a culture where folks are growing into an understanding whereby it's like second skin? It's something you should do or something that you should have, where you keep something for a rainy day, making your work maybe a little easier?
Yeah, I mean, actually they have made our work very easy, because one of the things they do is that one of the things that we imparted in them is that, you know what, guys, you can budget for your sherehe on Friday. Just keep a budget, but budget for savings as well. So there's a budget for saving and there's a budget for you, because they are young. So they want to be around, they want to go to Mombasa, wherever it is. Just like anybody else, budget for that, but budget for savings first. Once you've budgeted for savings, then you can budget for other things and your life will be very smooth. You have money for your rainy day, your precautionary savings. And this is very important now, especially when there are a lot of disruptions that are ongoing now. If you have those precautionary savings, you can start drawing into them. And quite honestly, even in the recent past, with a bit of uncertainty that has come, we've seen a lot of more people even saving. And you'll be surprised, like during the COVID times, that's when money market funds actually grew dramatically, because everybody was like, I don't know how uncertain the period is. So what we say is that even when we are giving financial advice, one of the things that we say is that you'll have your normal long-term savings.
Yes.
Then you have a bit of precautionary savings where you can draw in the event that your income levels go down, or maybe you are not very sure about what's going on tomorrow. So we saw that during COVID times quite a lot. So I like demarcating those savings into two. So emergency fund and your long-term saving on one side, where you will literally, this is long-term, I want to achieve my goal. This is if something goes wrong, then I can be able to dip in it.
What if it gets better? For example, the 100 shillings that we talk about today, because look, up and down, everywhere, I've shaken everything, is only 100 shillings I can find and I can start doing this thing, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a windfall later or a better job or increased income.
Yeah.
Is it fluid in the sense that I can now increase how much I'm putting into investment and saving?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is we have that person starting at 100 and we have other people at 200, 300 million in our products. So anytime that you find you have that windfall, you just invest. And one of the habits that I tell people, just having a standing order or a check off from your salary. Don't see that money. Assume that it's an extra tax that you've gotten. And I mean, we
don't like that word about. But okay,
tax yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So put on have a checkoff, and we do have arrangements with some organizations, employers, where we just have checkoffs and money comes, or a standing order, because it's not. Sometimes it's not. You have to be really mentally disciplined for you to be putting. When you get your salary, you just do a *778# and you place your money with us. That you can do too. I do that sometimes when I get a windfall myself. Then I can do that extra. But ordinarily, the best way of investing is just setting aside my 100,000, my 50,000, my 20,000, depending on what you get, your 1,000,000 shillings per month, and put it aside automatically without thinking. So mentally, even your mind tells you, by the way, this is my income and I can live on it.
Right.
I mean, spending is about your mental orientation. You always spend what you have. I mean, your mental state then puts you there. But at the same time, on the other side, you're accumulating money.
Yes.
That's the biggest trick. Yeah, because mentally you spend what you think you have. And that is the best way I look at saving and investing and budgeting and spending. Yeah.
For the person who is sitting here listening this morning and saying, okay, well, so what do I do? How do I start? How do I get into this? How do I need to be convinced a little bit more? Barak, what would you say to that individual today?
Yeah. So what I will say is that you can call us on 0705 100 100 and we'll talk. We'll send you a financial advisor to sit down with you and tell you, you know what, this is your age, XYZ. This is the risk that you can take, and maybe this is the fund that you can invest in. And of course, it's a conversation.
Right.
It's a conversation where you agree and say this is. In fact, what we are saying is we listen. For us, our mantra now is listening more.
Right.
Not telling the client.
Not telling what to do.
Because not telling you what to do, but listening, and then giving you a perspective. Of course, the other one, like I mentioned, if you go to Smart 2778, we will call you back, an SMS, so it costs you almost nothing. We will call you back.
Okay.
We have our WhatsApp chatbot, very interactive, Bella. The same numbers, 0705 100 100, and you'll start the interaction journey, and it can also give you an opportunity for you to be called.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, is there a difference between investing in the money market fund and buying shares? Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah. So there is a big difference. In investments, it's sometimes also good to have investments in a riskier pot. For example, shares. We say you can invest more in shares as you are young. But at the same time, what a money market fund does to you is that it is very important for that part of your, let me say, portfolio that you want to stabilize. Because as you can imagine, shares are very volatile sometimes. I mean, this share was 40 shillings, is 20 shillings now. You cannot use that type of saving to achieve your goal of buying a property or buying a car in 6 months, because you might find it half. So that's when you have those goals, transition to a money market fund, and you'll be able to get to that goal without losing some sleep. Shares have their place. They are okay and they are good, and we also do manage those for clients. But if you want to achieve some specific goals within a certain short period,
this is the way to go.
This is the way to go.
I mean, great insights and great knowledge this morning. Barack Obatsa, thank you for joining us and sharing that. I mean, no doubt, clearly, which direction we should be going. Barack Obatsa is the CEO of Britam Asset Managers, has been our guest this hour. Thank you for being here, and conversations continue. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.